What's up, everyone? Thank you for checking out this episode of Raised A Geek, episode 99, as it happens to be almost to 100. This week, we're talking about episode 3 of Succession, and we're going to give some thoughts on the Super Mario Brothers movie, because Don and I have seen it, so let's just get to it. As always, I'm Chris, and I'm always here with my buddy Don. How we doing, man?
Chris, what is up today, my friend? I am all right. Cannot complain too much. Everything's going okay. Like you said, episode 99, it almost feels like, to match such a big, strong, historic moment in Succession, a show we both like. It would have been nice if that would have matched up for our episode 100. You know what I mean? Our episode 100.
This would have been a hell. Maybe we need to split up and do Mario as 99 and Succession as 100. And we just back to back them.
Oh my god! Right, but you know what? We did like a bunch of bonus episodes in there, so we've technically had over 100 episodes, but we were just like parsing here. But yeah, I don't know. I'm good.
It doesn't matter.
No, it
does.
Good. It really.
Glad to hear that.
How are you?
Doing good. Just, keeping busy with normal life things, trying to push towards the summer, planning some trips. I got a couple trips to Chicago for work and personal that I got to try to figure out what I'm doing for those. So a lot of stuff going on in the real world. And then a lot of crazy stuff going on in Succession. But another crazy thing that happened is there's Super Mario Brothers movie came out and made the most money an animated movie ever made.
Crazy
this weekend.
Crazy.
We went and saw a cartoon movie. You went back to theaters. When was the last time you went to see the movie? What, Ant-Man, I guess?
Yeah, it's Ant-Man. But the thing about it is I rarely go to theaters anymore unless it's like a superhero movie. And this has kind of been my MO for the past, I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
I just don't get to the theater as much as I used to anymore. Partly in part because things are so quick to come to home now, and it's like, I can wait. Like nothing really drives me to the movies like it did when we were younger, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But
4 years ago.
4 years ago. But yeah, I went with my family, so my sister and my mom. This was on Easter. It was like kind of our Easter thing, and my wife. And my sister has a 4-year-old, so he's like super into it, even though he's probably hasn't played a video game yet in his life. But even if you haven't played a video game and you're 4 years old, you still know who Mario is somehow.
Crazy, right?
Who doesn't know who Mario is? But yeah, went and saw it, and you saw it like a day or two ago?
I saw it today.
Oh, today, so it's fresh.
$5 movies, man.
Nice.
So it was a cheap movie. So yeah, you went and found a child to take with you. I just was the creepy loner by myself.
But you know what? Mario's for everyone, man. I mean, it started in our generation when we were kids. Like,
no, that movie was made for us.
Come on now.
That movie was made for us. There were so many Easter eggs and callbacks and things that made you just think of, I mean, even the opening thing is the Mario Brothers spoilers across the board for the Mario Brothers movie. I'm going to spoil the shit out of this movie.
Get that out there. But I mean, the opening of the movie was the Mario Brothers rap from when we were kids. I could almost rap it back to them. So, and then I got confused with the super heavy accent. I'm like, wait, I haven't heard Chris Pratt sound like that. Right. That was his stage accent. Like his,
I was like, oh, okay. But no, man, I enjoyed it. It was a fun movie. The only flaw in it is it was done so well that all I wanted to do was play Mario, and I wanted it to end so I could go home and play Mario. And I was like, I don't think that's what they want me to do. But I was sitting there just like, man, is this movie almost over? Because I want to go get some Mario in.
Well, here's my question. Then which Mario game was it that came to your mind first? Like, I should play that. Because there's so many.
I know. If honestly, the one that jumped out the first was the Mario 3D World. Because I know I bought that on sale for the Switch and I don't think I played it.
Yeah.
And because like when Mario first got to the Mushroom Kingdom and immediately made friends, like, man, it's easy to make friends in the Mushroom Kingdom, apparently. But then, like when he was running through, so much of that reminded me of that game, the 3D world thing. So I thought that was really cool. Of course, Mario Kart was in there. I was like, I could get some Mario Kart in. And then the music, because one of my favorite video game soundtracks is Mario Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
So Mario Galaxy was like, man, I should play some Galaxy again, because the Mario Galaxy was a phenomenal game for the Wii. And the soundtrack, like I said, is one of my favorites. So Galaxy was in there as well. So those were kind of a little bit more modern Mario compared to older ones.
Plethora of choices. Yeah, man, I really liked it a lot too. It was just like 90 minutes of fun. Like you didn't have to think about it. It wasn't complicated. I mean, it was made for people our age, but it's also a children's movie at the same time.
Yeah.
A lot of callbacks to our history, but still a lot of fun for kids. Bright, shiny colors, Mario, jumping, action. Didn't hate Chris Pratt. I am a known Chris Pratt hater on this show. He didn't bother me too much. I mean, I didn't even really notice that it was him. Like, I just heard Mario.
Yeah.
Same with the rest of the voice cast. I mean, they were all good. Some standouts. Obviously, Jack Black put a lot into that role, and he was really good.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen kind of dialed it in. I know everyone's been saying that, but he was just Seth Rogen, didn't do anything.
I know. You're just like, but it worked. I could buy it for Donkey Kong.
Yeah, man. I thought it was good. Like just a little adventure that you didn't have to think about. Just fun action, some jokes that actually landed, some just, funny shit. That little I don't want to say suicidal, but like depressed little thing.
The little starlet little dude
that just kept saying weird shit like fresh meat for the grinder. I was like, what the fuck is that thing?
I know.
This is children. Children are watching this.
Sweet release of death.
Yeah, they talk about death a lot in that movie.
They do talk about death. Like the first line in the movie was like, "I'm going to kill all of you." Something like Bowser said to those little penguins. Like the first line, it was noticeable to me. Like the first thing they said was like murder.
Yeah, he's like, "You can die." I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah. I was like, "Whoa!" Yeah,
I thought the exact same thing. I'm waiting for my 4-year-old nephew to look at me and be like, "What's die?"
I know, right? Am I gonna die? Oh God!
Yeah,
this just got awkward.
No, dude, but super fun. Glad I went to see it. It's making a ton of money. People love it.
Ton of money. So that means we're getting the MCU, the Mario Cinematic Universe.
That's kind of what they're talking about. I mean, I'd go see a Luigi's Mansion movie. I'd go see a Donkey Kong standalone or Donkey Kong Country. Add in Diddy Kong in there and Dixie and everybody, and have an adventure like that. You can go outside Mario, start making Zelda stuff and Metroid stuff and Kirby stuff. Like, have it all be connected. Be dope.
Oh yeah, and then the 20th movie is Super Smash Brothers. There it is, right? That's what you build towards.
That's how you do it.
It would be
Star Fox.
Awesome.
Star Fox, make it a little more serious.
A Star Fox movie would kind of be badass.
No, it would.
It would be all Top Gun style. I could get on board with that.
It'd be better than all the recent Star Wars stuff.
Oh yeah, Star Wars is garbage.
That's what we're gonna
straight up garbage.
That's the tagline of our the episode this week.
Yeah, Star Wars is garbage. We'll get the most views, most downloads. That might be what I do. Did you see? And this is going to be a complete sidebar, but like they did the Star Wars celebration this week or this last weekend.
Okay.
There wasn't a single thing they talked about that I cared about. I watched a couple trailers and I was like, eh. Yeah. Did anything get you excited from Star Wars Celebration?
I mean, I haven't even watched the Osaka trailer. I know that's like their next kind of show. But I mean, we haven't talked about it publicly on here. I'm kind of like turned off The Mandalorian. First episode didn't do it for me, and I haven't watched anything since. Just my personal choice. Sorry to those listening who love it. Don't be mad at me. I just don't like it. I just saw recently that the girl who plays Rey, Daisy, what's her name? Daisy
Ridley.
Daisy Ridley is going to appear in a future Star Wars movie again as Rey. Is like, that doesn't do anything for me either. I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe Star Wars just isn't my thing, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be.
Nope. Call me when Andor season 2 hits.
Yeah.
I think honest to God, feel like that's going to be the next Star Wars thing I watch.
Probably.
Unless I hear like that level of goodness coming from anything else. But started Mandalorian, watched most of one episode. I might have fell asleep by the end, and I was like, I don't think I'm watching this.
Yeah, I was the same way.
It was just rough. And I mean, I know we're not alone in that. I know there's been a lot of mixed reactions to this season of Mandalorian.
Yeah. And again, you like what you like and you don't like what you don't like. And I just don't like what Star Wars is doing right now. So I just don't care.
Not really. But anyway, as a quick reverse back before this conversation episode gets heavy. Any other thoughts on Mario? You pre-ordering the 4K Ultra disc that's like the most pre-ordered movie on Amazon?
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I don't really get physical movies anymore, but yeah, I probably wouldn't with that either. I mean, it wasn't blow me away that great, but it was good. I liked it. I thought it was
I had
really
a good
fun.
time.
Yeah, I could. I mean, when it pops up on home streaming, I'll sit and watch it again. Like, it's just fun at the movies. Something we've sorely missed, as they like to say, for the past however many years. Just a fun time, and
this is the movie that has Hollywood. I saw an article, I think it was a Variety article that's out there now, where because of the success of Mario, movie studios are going, well, maybe we don't need to rush our movies to streaming to make more money. And you're like, yeah,
right.
Like they're just like, oh, we have to maximize our profits and get it on streaming as fast as possible. And all of us are like, hell yeah. And then now they're like, oh, wait, we want people to go to the movies. That's how we make money. I'm like, did you forget this?
Well, also make movies people want to see. Like, don't make Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, and then you won't have to worry about it. Man, I'm really shitting on a lot of things today.
It's a good thing we have goodness to talk about. Hey, you like Mario? Yes, we shit on Star Wars. Yeah. Oh, I opened that conversation. You just jumped all over that Shazam train. We're not even going to talk about the Marvels. The Marvels trailer that came out today. Did you watch that one?
I did.
It looked fine. It looked exactly what I expected it to look like.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to talk about is WTF Succession, man. What the fuck?
Put out that spoiler warning again.
Oh yeah, massive spoilers. Like spoilers for Succession. They're coming out hard. We're gonna LA Times this and spoil everything for you. Call us the LA Times because we're here to spoil Succession, episode 3, season 4 for you, titled Connor's Wedding.
Yeah, this is gonna be happy. This is Connor's wedding, right? This is gonna just be hijinks.
Last week we were sitting here on the show and I'm like, oh shit, next week's Connor's wedding. That's gonna be crazy. What the hell, man? Like, I did not expect in any way what we got in this episode.
Yeah.
Because it fucking killed Logan Roy, man.
When you say it out loud, it makes it real.
Yeah. Logan Roy is dead.
And like, kudos to whoever put together the trailer. I don't know if you watch like scenes from next week.
Of course
you do, right? I still remembered last week, like episode 2, watching that. Obviously, there's no hint of what's going to happen in that, but they just cut it so like precisely that they are really using scenes from his family's reaction of his death, but you don't know in what context. So like if you can
watch that again,
you can go back and watch it because like they're using actual reaction of like Connor and the kids. But we're just like, all right, we got another intense one. There's going to be some arguments happening. Little do you know that everyone's world comes crashing down in the craziest episode of this show yet. This is the 4th season. They've never done something like this. It's unprecedented. I mean, anytime you kill off a major character, not only a major character, but pretty much the main character who like this entire show revolves around, and it's not the end of the show. It's like, what is this now? What is going on? What do we have left to do? I mean, obviously we know the family's now going to like be having a back and forth with each other, and then also people in the company, like the executives in the company, but like
all bets are off now, man.
Logan's gone.
We are rolling now. And I love the fact that they basically saved the this season on Succession trailer for after this episode. Like they didn't show a shit that happened after this episode. Like we had no idea. And then they're like this season on Succession. And then they're showing all kinds of crazy shit. And I was like, oh my God. Like,
well, it's because they couldn't show that stuff.
Right. So
they
now
couldn't.
like now the show's like really starting.
With 7 episodes left. Yeah.
7 episodes left, heading towards the finale. This is how you do it, man. Like I kind of figured Logan would crash. Like I figured Logan wouldn't make it, but I would figure that he would die like episode 8 or 9, you know, like make it all the way to the end. No idea episode 3 was going to be it for Logan Roy.
Well, let's talk about how
first.
Yeah, go ahead.
I need to say fuck you to the LA Times.
Oh,
for everybody out there who had this shit spoiled for them because their writers and publishing people decided it would be, which it was well done. They put together a obituary for Logan Roy, and the writer was so excited about it that they posted it, but they posted it literally the second the episode premiered.
Went to air, right?
Like the episode went to air, you could start it, but if you happen to pick up your phone during like the opening credits, you just got the episode spoiled for you because it was right there.
That happened to your wife.
And that happened to my wife. Luckily, she just was like, "Oh, I'm seeing spoilers. We need to turn this thing on." We turned it on. It was about 8:30, so the episode was available for 30 minutes, and she already had it ruined for her. And when it ended, I was like, "Is that what got ruined? Did you know?" And she was like, "Yep." And I was like, "That sucks," because I had a hell of a different experience than she did, because I was along for the ride with everyone else. So yeah, fuck you, LA Times. That was some bullshit, and I know there are a lot of people mad about that. So
yeah, it's terrible.
Like read the room, and I mean, like just don't put it in the headline. I understand you want to be cute. I understand you're proud of your article. You're having fun. That's cool. Have it ready. I mean, either title it something different
or let the show
breathe.
Let the show be on for an hour and then press publish. Like,
well, and shit. And I could be corrected. Anybody out on the West Coast can correct me. But we were looking at it, and they dropped it at 6:30, which I was reading some mixed things, but I know that LA is 2 hours behind us. So I don't think they just like air stuff at 6:30. It would still be 8 o'clock because usually there's a delay. So I don't know exactly what time Succession becomes available for those people, but regardless, it wasn't available for long, if at all, for even the people that are going to read it that live in their city. But like I said, it's just some bullshit. I thought we were past this. I know there are assholes out like online that just go out of their way to spoil stuff, but not like major institutions like the LA Times.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bullshit just to like get a bunch of clicks, you know?
Yeah, they were. I mean, and I felt bad because the writer, she was like, this was the most fun I had writing an article. And like, she was having such like a blast with it, but it just screwed up so many things because there were so many people because people were sharing screenshots of it and it wasn't about Succession. It was about Logan Roy. It got past everybody's Twitter filter. So it was like either a screenshot of it that doesn't get blocked or filtered out, or they were talking about Logan Roy, which nobody blocked out Logan Roy. They blocked out Succession. They blocked out HBO, you know, like very few people. So it got through so many people's even like defenses and also, it's just such a huge moment and it just sucks.
Yeah. And also this isn't a show that traditionally has been like something that can be spoiled so easily. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know another single person besides you that watch it. You know, like so it's like it's not like I'm going into work.
We don't even know who's listening to this podcast because we don't know anybody else who likes this show.
We just want to do it because it's fun to talk about. And it's the final season, but like I'm not going into work and being like, "Do you see Succession?" Everyone's like, "I don't know what that is."
Right, but I'm saying like this isn't Game of Thrones where every episode is something spoilery and you have to watch out and not go on the internet the next day.
Or even watch it immediately. Like this isn't a show that, you know, I watch it when it first airs because I want to watch it.
Right.
I don't need to watch it. I'm not worried about spoilers for Succession. If I wait until Monday, like you did, and I was nervous for you when you're telling me like I'm going to watch it tomorrow, and I was like, "Ugh," but I was like, I don't even want to say because I know it's not that type of show. So if I tell you I would watch it before stuff gets spoiled, you're going to be like, "Fuck, what did they do?" Like
Well,
it's going to almost
like
spoil it for you just because it's not a show for spoilers. So it was a big deal.
Yeah, because this is the one moment that could be spoiled and make it a bad experience, and someone did it, not just someone like a newspaper corporation or whoever. Anyway, bad look on LA Times. We'll tag you and curse you out and call you
Bad LA Times for shame. March down the street while you have people throwing garbage at you. Shame.
But I think I think our anger towards them is justified just because of how big of a moment this actually was for this show. And I mean, arguably TV. Yeah. So just to like kind of paint the picture, this episode started kind of like a regular episode of Succession usually does. You know, Logan's doing his thing. Last couple episodes we had him, you know, he's going to meet up with the Gojo guy, Lucas, or that's his name, right?
Yep.
And to kind of like push the sale forward and bypass what his kids were doing. And we learned Roman was kind of with Logan on the side, but he's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And you know, Logan's telling Roman on the phone that he wants him to fire Jerry. He doesn't trust Jerry anymore, and that puts Roman in a weird position. And it's just kind of, you know, the other kids.
Well, it should put the whole company in a weird position because you know Roman was sending dick pics to her. So like
that's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other thing that was happening like last season. But I mean, that's, you know, it's a questionable thing to have the person who was sending these pictures go to you and say, "Hey, we're letting you go," and you're like, "Huh?" Like that had to be awkward as hell. It was awkward as hell to watch it happen.
Right. Totally.
He was saved by the bell.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. The other kids, Kendall, Shiv, they're all at Connor's wedding. Like, you know, this episode is called Connor's Wedding. Logan being like the businessman first, you know, he's actually going to skip his son's wedding to go close his deal, which isn't surprising. We know how like crazy with how, you know, the company is his life, so that doesn't surprise anybody. You know, they get on the plane, they're going to fly away. This is the first 5 minutes episode, everything's just going regular. Now then the call comes, and Tom calls Shiv. She hangs up because she thinks he's just gonna talk some bullshit.
Screwing with her, yeah.
She's tired of talking to him anyway. He calls again a second time, like immediately she just hangs up. Finally, Tom then does call Roman and gets through to him, and it just, that's where it begins. And that's where this roller coaster starts. And I just want to kind of hear from you, like, what are your feelings once you start hearing what's going on? And Tom starts talking, says your dad's very sick, and we can tell in the reactions of Kendall and Roman that something's really wrong, especially the way Tom's talking. Like, this isn't just a normal he passed out or whatever, like chest compressions.
Yeah, he was like, your dad's sick, and of course, you know, they're on a plane, so that the reception and, you know, call is breaking up, and then you're just making out certain words like your dad's really sick, he had trouble breathing, chest compressions, like you're like, what? You know, and you're just reacting.
Walk me through, like, what's the emotional roller coaster? This is a character we've been watching for 4 seasons, and everybody, you know, has kind of, you love him, you hate him, but just you feel a closeness to the character, I'm sure. What are you going through?
Honest to God, they did it in a way that made you feel like someone you knew was going through that. Like, because it, like we just talked about in the beginning, it happened in a Connor's wedding episode. Like, you just didn't see it coming. Like when people drop dead,
right?
You know, you don't see it coming. It's not always at the most opportune time. You know, it's like, it's unpredictable. And you're trying, and if you're in a situation like this, you are trying to gather the information. And the way that they put it together, we weren't on the plane. We didn't see him go down. We didn't see chest compression, so we don't even know if what's happening is real. We don't know to what severity because we're only seeing what the kids see. And just that way of doing that, you kind of almost had the same emotions. Like I was like sitting up, like, wait, are they doing this? Like,
Yeah.
what's happening right now? And you're just kind of you have the disbelief. You have kind of really was running the gambit of just what is happening right now.
Mhm.
And just like they were, I'm sitting there just glued to the TV doing that same thing for going, no, wait. No, I
Mhm.
kind of was like Roman. I was like, no, they till we get a doctor in there to say it. You know, obviously the show starts with him having a stroke and going through all of that stuff. And there have been
So
medical scares throughout.
we knew he's in bad health from season one, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that was the whole, that's what the show is about. And, but yeah, it was just following through that. It was just done so freaking well of telling this story, but making you just being done told in a different way. We've seen main characters die off, being killed. We've had our these moments where you're just shocked by what you're seeing, but I've never seen anything done in this way, where
Yeah.
it's like very real of just you're getting scattered information, you don't know the full story, and you're trying to piece together what you should do, and then throw on top of it that this is like the owner and CEO of like a huge media conglomerate, you know, that's in the middle of a huge $1 billion takeover, you know, or buyout. So it's like there's so many moving pieces, and where do you draw what line? And just like I said, it was crazy. How about you?
Yeah, very, very similar experience. From the moment they received the call, and we as viewers started being like, oh, this is something serious and unexpected. I'm like, wait a minute, this is episode 3. Are they I'm like you, I'm in my mind like they're not doing this now. Like, oh my God, I think they're doing this now. Like,
Yeah,
and it started unfolding as like you just said, like a sudden death of somebody.
yeah,
Like we all kind of imagine Roman or not Roman, Logan might die in this before the end of this show. And like we were just previously talking about, maybe it's in episode 8 or episode 9, and he's on his deathbed, and all his kids get to come in, and they finally get to hash things out and settle things, and like Kendall gets to say what he wants, and Logan maybe he's gonna apologize, and Shiv gets to say everything on her mind, and Logan's gonna tell her what he really thinks, and they're gonna have these bonding final moments as a family, and everything's gonna be tied into a nice little bow. But that's not how these things
it's
happen.
not how life works. Yeah,
That's not how life works. You don't always get that. And this show recognizes that, and they didn't take the cheap way out and decide that he get a bed of roses at the end in a hospital bed. You know what I mean? They decided he's gonna die off screen. We're not even really gonna show his face. His children aren't gonna be with him. It's gonna be a chaotic, crazy environment, just like these things, something like this would happen this way. And I thought that was just like amazing television. Like they basically put up on screen for us what a unexpected death of a loved one, family member would be like, and had the camera follow them around, and it didn't stop. And you know, one scene just went on for almost a half hour. You know what I mean? Just like panic and everything that anybody would be feeling in that moment was just conveyed in such a good way, along with the performances. But just like,
yeah. How that
yeah, man.
cast did that, the idea, and I know they talked about it a little bit after the episode, like the inside the episode look, but just the emotion that they brought, and the idea of that they were going through, like what they brought to the screen was amazing. Like
Mhm.
you felt those things. That's heavy stuff. That's heavy stuff to have to go through, and for them to do it together as a family and to build off each other and do that. That's just was it was a bravo moment, man. It was top notch.
Yeah, I love Better Call Saul, but I'm scared for Bob Odenkirk that he's not going to win his award because Jeremy Strong is freaking going crazy. Or even Brian Cox, a couple other. He probably won't win because he's only been in 3 episodes. But you know what I mean. Just like he brought it. Sarah Snook, same thing. Like she was amazing. in this episode. Don't you agree?
Oh yeah, all three of them were outstanding. I mean, four. I mean, you throw Connor in there too. He was.
Yeah, and he reacted in a way that Connor would.
Yep.
Like the first sentence out of his mouth is, "He didn't even like me," and then it start. That's just his first thought. Like, oh man, he didn't even like me. But then like it starts singing in to him too, and we can feel his sadness and panic and the chaos in him. But yeah, man, all of them kind of brought it, and we got to see a side of each one of these characters that we've never seen before. We've never seen um Siobhan like panicking. She's always been like as cute, as cool as a cucumber, in control of every situation. She like,
yeah,
her and Kendall walking out of that room holding hands like little kids, like walking to go get Connor. It was crazy. It was like amazing to see these characters.
Nobody could do it. Yeah, she's always kept everything internal and stayed cool. You'd only be able to see little hints, but this one was just completely letting it go. And yeah, the fact that they couldn't go find her brother, they had to be together. They couldn't, just one person couldn't just go do it because they couldn't go together. Roman trying to figure out, because they were holding the phone up, Tom had them holding the phone up to his ear while he's getting chest compressions. Like, maybe he can hear you. I don't really know, but say what you want to say. And the kid's trying to figure out, like, is this real? What am I saying? And even Roman, like, did I tell him I love him? Did I, he knows he sent a voice message where he was cursing his father out for making him talk to Jerry. And then he's like, did Dad hear that message? Like, that's something he'll never know, whether or not he heard that message. That's something he has to figure out on his own, of whether or not that's what he wants to think killed his dad or whatever. There's just so many levels to it, of just a performance that they did, and all the emotions that all three of those characters just went through, the loop that they went through, the denial, the acceptance, the understanding. It was, like I said, it was phenomenal. Yeah. And yes, I feel bad for Bob Odenkirk, because he might have just lost whatever award he was going to win. And same with Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Like this Succession's coming out the gate swinging, and between Last of Us and Succession now, like, I don't know what Better Call Saul's going to do.
Right. It's been too long. People are going to forget.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It was just a phenomenal episode. Possibly their best episode. We'll talk about that. But just especially that whole scene where the kids are learning about it, and everything after that was great too. But them just like learning about it and going through the motions, and they don't know whether he's alive or dead, and then like maybe some acceptance that he is, and some denial from Roman, and I don't know, dude. It was just very. I had pain in my chest watching this episode. It like made me feel uncomfortable and uneasy and like sad, like true sadness.
Yes, I felt emotion. I felt human. And as you said, like, it was like a 28-minute scene, and they even said afterwards that they filmed it as one 28-minute scene, like one entire scene of these kids getting these phone calls, figuring out, with no cuts to the plane or anybody else. The final version, they had some cuts when they were talking to people on the phone, and they broke it up. But the majority of like this episode was pretty much like a one take. Like, you just were there with them, and with as little information as possible, just experiencing this horrible, horrible moment in these people's lives. And it was amazing.
Yeah, it's like you couldn't take your eyes off it. It was just one of those moments that, I know we like this show, but just it's one of those TV moments. You know them when you see them.
Yep.
And you know them when you experience them. And this was one of them that you can put on the short list of one of those moments that it's gonna like define television. I don't even know if I don't think that's going too far to honestly say that.
No, I told you. I said and you talked about this. We talked about this when we were talking about The Last of Us. And you were like, hey, Chris, it's only January or February. Year just started. Is there going to be a better show than The Last of Us in 2023? And I told you no.
Yeah.
And Last of Us was amazing. But I think regardless of anything that happens with the remainder of this episode of TV, I don't know if anything's going to be better than this episode of TV this year. Like, I loved The Last of Us. This episode was
Yeah.
The best story. There were some Last of Us episodes that were there, but no, this will be the best episode of TV. And we still got 7 more of God knows what. You know, they might. I don't know. I don't think they can
still
top
have
themselves,
they still have a finale. They still have a finale to do.
Yeah.
I know.
So it was just like I said, just done so well. I've never seen anything like it.
No, me neither. And it's not even. We're not even exaggerating. Like I'm not exaggerating it. It was that.
Yeah.
Like it stuck with me. I was thinking about it today.
I've almost put it back on. I'm going to watch that episode again before next week. Like I need to watch it again.
I think I will too. Even knowing what's coming, just to like kind of dig into it a little more and like see it with eyes. Now I have some preparation in me. Maybe I can see it differently and like pick up some new things maybe I missed. But yeah, I think I have to do that too.
Yeah, it was just so good. And then then they just decided to open the doors and say, all right, 7 episodes left. Here we go. And now we realize that this show is actually about these kids as we're rushing towards the finale now. Like now it really is who's going to be in charge. They've spent these first 3 episodes basically of them saying, the sale, which we knew was going to make none of them CEO. It was going to make Alexander Skarsgård CEO. That was part of the whole deal. So it was just more about money and a buyout. But now that Logan Roy is dead, there's an actual succession in play that's up for grabs for anybody. And that's really what it looks like when they were showing this. It's just like, here we go. It's kind of similar to Game of Thrones. Like, who's going to end up on the throne at the end of this?
Yeah.
It's like, like, where do we go? And now it can literally be anybody. Hopefully they can, tie it together a little bit better. But
well, that's why it kind of seems like as fans to us looking at it as, oh man, they killed Logan in episode 3 of the last season. Your initial thought might be that kind of sucks. I wanted to see more of him. I don't know what the show's going to be without him. It's going to feel different. But as we've talked about, the show is called Succession, and it's kind of been told through the narrative through all these seasons, like he wasn't going to let any of his kids succeed him. Like we're past that point now. So the only real way to move that narrative forward is for him to be gone. So
without a succession plan in place. So right. Then it's free for all.
So now it's like, this is the only way we were really going to truly decide the fate of his company is with him gone. And now he is. And now we do have 7 episodes to sort through that and see what the kids are going to do and see what his executives are going to do and how the world is going to react and what the Gojo has to do with it. It's going to be crazy without him around. Just like, yeah, like Bedlam. It's the Royal Rumble now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I understand why they did it, why this decision was made to do it at this point. It's awesome that it kept us on our toes. We didn't see it coming. Like, I don't think anybody did this early. So that part's a success, but also now you get to tell the story of, what is the future of Waystar without Logan Roy?
Yeah. What does it look like? Is this deal? Yeah, there's just so many questions. And just like kudos that they could take an episode. I mean, we've obviously, as you said in the beginning when we started talking, they always have, we've seen countless episodes about someone dying, main characters dying, surprise deaths. I mean, it's none of it's new, but like kudos for them for making. Usually those episodes are done really well, even if they're a surprise, but they're always lean towards sadness. And this one decided to really lean into more, I guess, real emotions. Like you don't just start off sad. You go through a lot of things before. So by the end of this episode, you're just like, oh shit, this is actually happening. But the fact that they were able to go through and they're saying, no, we're going to go through everything. We're going to get dirty with this. And we are going to show
shock, denial, bargaining. All of it.
All of it. We'll get to sadness at the end and we'll get to acceptance by the end, but you're going to see all of it. You're not just going to be sad, shocked and sad. We're going to depress the hell out of you. We're going to drag you through the emotion of a surprise, a real surprise, natural death. It's not like other ones where it's like some character betrayed another one and, turned on somebody. This was just natural causes. This was just an inopportune time, as death is inopportune for everybody,
Right.
Very few people are like, yes,
right.
It's here.
Very few.
Yeah.
I agree.
So it's just one of those things where you're just like, man, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And it's just amazing and how well it was done.
You gonna miss Logan?
I mean, yes, I'm obviously going to miss him. I think the way, Brian Cox is always amazing, and the things that he did with that character, the uncomfortableness, the control, the manipulation. I mean, he was always a force on the screen. He was always a force. He could throw a wrench in anything. Even we talked about last week, him showing up at that karaoke bar and trying to be emotional to his kids. And that was just, that character is just such a big, like, Shadow has a big personality. There's just so much with it that it's obviously going to be missed. Without the void is going to be felt. But the idea that, and it makes all the sense in the world, and I'm kind of mad that I didn't see it coming sooner. Like I said, it's Succession. So it's all about who's going to replace that character. So you need to have that character gone. And that's not a character. This wasn't a story where he's going to eventually pick someone like they've been trying to kind of say for the last 3 years. Like, we've had seasons and story arcs that were about Shiv, I want you to succeed me. Kendall, I want you to. Roman, I want you to. And screwing around with his kids. He was never going to pick somebody.
Right.
So it was always going to come down to this. And I mean, we had this Gojo deal that was, seeming like it was kind of making that decision for him. And now, like I said, now you just have it. So of course, I miss him. He's amazing, but I'm really excited to see what they do now moving forward.
Yeah.
Now I have a clearer picture of what this final season is going to be.
Yeah.
And it's super exciting.
Agreed. His presence will be noticeable. Him not being around is going to be noticeable, I think. Like, just think in your mind right now of like watching an episode of Succession that Logan's not in. Doesn't it just seem weird? And it's gonna be weird that he's not there. His presence is gonna be felt. I'm sure it's gonna reverberate for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Whether he pops up in flashbacks or whatever. This isn't really the kind of show that does flashbacks, but just having him not be there, Brian Cox not being on screen for the next 7 episodes is going to be strange.
Yeah, I just hope they don't do a time jump. Like, I don't want them to be like, 6 months later or anything. Like, I want this like raw. Yeah. I want all of these decisions being made in that moment, and I want to feel that rush of like, we need to do this now. So I just hope there's not any kind of crazy. I don't think they can do, because in that type of situation, you have to put somebody in charge.
There's too many details they would have to skip to do a time jump. I think they're going to keep going this like day by day kind of a format. It seems like they've been doing, which is, going to be.
It's going to be crazy.
It is crazy.
Is this show going to give Last of Us a run for its money? Are we already full of shit when we're like, Last of Us, no show's going to be better than this? And then Succession's like, hold my beer.
I think they're both going to stand maybe shoulder to shoulder as.
I know they're completely different shows. It's hard.
Completely different shows and aimed at completely different audiences, but like,
as we could see from our numbers.
yeah, that too. Not many people are going #Succession and finding things. Well, maybe after this one, you never know.
Maybe.
But yeah, I'm gonna miss him. His presence is gonna be felt. But as they say, the show must go on, and it's going to.
And if you want to memorialize Logan Roy, I know LA Times has a great obituary they put together for Logan Roy. So,
go hate read it.
You can go hate read it. Unless you were one of the ones spoiled by it, and then you're too mad to even hate read it. So,
yeah,
I apologize. I'm sorry if anybody got spoiled by that, because that really sucks.
And thanks for everyone on our Twitter timeline for not really caring about Succession, because I didn't see anything about it on Twitter until I searched for it.
I didn't see shit for Succession either. So I think I would have been okay.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's just not in my analytics.
Right.
My machines don't try to give it to me.
Elon doesn't want you to know about Succession. Thanks, Elon.
I don't know. I blocked Elon. I don't know. I get tired of people talking about him. So I'm like, mute. I'm going to mute Elon, Musk, and Twitter because during that period of time, I was so tired of my timeline. So I got rid of all that shit.
Makes sense.
But anyway, Succession episode 4 will be back next week. Super, super, super excited and pumped for that one. I believe it is going to be called Honeymoon States. So we do. I mean, Connor, I guess we didn't really talk about the episode. It's hard to, but Connor did get married at the end of this episode. Obviously, there was a lot less of a event than originally planned was, because once the news broke, then everybody kind of bolted. But he did get married.
Yeah, he had his moment in this scene too, where he grew as a character, and his relationship with Willa has always been, always made us nervous as viewers if you root for Connor that she is gonna leave him and whatever, and her kind of being she's still not I love you, but she's I'm happy, and you know what, that's good enough for Connor and good for them. I'm glad they got together. That scene was kind of beautiful in its own way. So them still having the wedding with basically nobody there, but still being Connor being you know what, this is my life. I'm gonna do this. He's dealing with the death of his father too, and he had a very different relationship with Logan than the other kids do because they're also ensconced in the business. But you know what, he's gonna deal with it his own way and try to be happy.
Right.
So good for Connor.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, this was a masterful episode. I feel like I can say this one's going to stick with me for a while, and I definitely think when we come back around the end of the year, this one, even though it's only April, just starting April, we're only just starting the second quarter of the year, but yeah, this one's going to stick with me for a minute,
for a good minute.
I'm going to go cry. Logan. So awesome episode. Super pumped to see where they're going with this. And we're off to the races for 7 episodes left, heading towards the finale. Someone's getting this throne.
Well, when we first decided we were going to kind of talk about the premiere, and then we threw around the idea on this podcast, and we were like, well, should we talk about the premiere and then maybe just talk about the series as a whole? Well, maybe let's try out the first couple and see if maybe we want to cover this the same way we did The Last of Us, episode by episode. We were like, okay, we'll see how it goes. After episode 2, I was like, I don't know, maybe we'll just kind of put these together and talk about a few other things. Now we can't. Now
we're committed now.
It's done. It's done at this point where I would have hated to have to talk about this episode as a series conversation with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we wouldn't have.
This episode deserved its own conversation. It deserves a million conversations as a standalone piece of art. It was a piece of art, man. So
I got no objections for me, man. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I'm glad we're talking about it. Hopefully you're enjoying listening to us talk about Succession. Hopefully you enjoyed. Yes. Let us know what you thought about this big twist. What where you think it's going, who's sitting on the throne. The throne. The throne. Who's ending up? Who's the CEO when we're all said and done? And so let us know. Hit us up Twitter, YouTube. Just social media in general, Raised A Geek. You can hit us up with Gmail at raisedageek@gmail.com. Raised A Geek, podcast services, social media services, email services. We are everywhere. So hit us up. Let us know what you thought. And if you have any other topics that you're looking for, that you'd like us to talk around Succession, or if you want us to shut up about Succession, let us know that too. We're always looking for
those. We still won't do it, but
no, it's our show. We're going to talk about Succession.
You're stuck with us.
You're stuck with it. You're stuck with this for 7 more weeks. But we'll try to fit some other things in there. But let us know. We're always looking for that. We're always looking also Spotify subs. So if you can hit us up over on Spotify, we'd appreciate that. If you review over on Spotify and leave some kind words, we will read them here on the show. If you leave some bad words, we'll read them here on the show. So just let us know. As long as it's not offensive to humanity, we'll be fine.
Even if it is, we'll think about it.
We'll think about it. Depends on if it's funny or not. But with that, I think that's going to do it for us this week. So for Raised A Geek, I'm Chris.
And I'm Don.
And thank you for checking out the show.
Where geek is all we speak.